Good evening.
Hi everyone. Welcome to the team call tonight and the Rank Advancement Club call. So we've got Elites and Premiers and Silver and Golds and probably other people on here tonight. And we're going to be talking about getting people to host classes. So we've got some good experience. We've got some people that have joined the business quite recently, and they're going to be discussing as well tonight how they've
More different topic actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's a different topic. But we're going to be discussing hosting classes tonight. So I hope you enjoy. First of all, though, we just got a few announcements. So don't forget, it's still the Immortel offer until the 31st of March.
Can I just say about Vanessa?
Yeah, Vanessa.
So Vanessa Ovens joined us this morning at 10 o'clock. So those of you who came on know how brilliant that was. So I really strongly recommend you watch that. So we'll be posting the recording of that after this call. We'll post both recordings, won't we?
The recording broke.
The recording broke. It was really good, really inspiring. She had some really excellent tips. So definitely watch that.
That did not work. And then we've got Boyd Truman coming on the 9th of April. Boyd's great. He's a double presidential diamond. And so he's going to be coming on the 9th. We've got Rebecca's continued their class. Woo! Oh. I'm tuning into that one. Yeah. Her continued ed class with Emily on the April 18th. That's their monthly one.
Which, by the way, just to remind you guys, we're doing these more to kind of duplicate them. So you can definitely all use them. You can, use the PowerPoints. They're mainly for that reason. So you guys as builders can go and take them, edit them, make them yours, but you'll have a good base to go and do what you want with them as well.
And then there's also Mum's continued ed classes, which she runs from the Essential Gifts of the Earth page, and they are every Monday at 7:30. So tonight, Eloise did Balancing Chakras with Essential Oils, which was great. That will be posted tomorrow, the recording of that, if you wish to watch that. So just if you want to tune in on 7:30 for the continued ed classes that Mum runs. Don't forget convention and the business training. Book your tickets.
And also, this is a key opportunity to get as many people there as you can. I was thinking of this the other day. I was saying to Nathan, we need to get tons of people there to convention. We're just thinking of all our friends. We're just going to really try and get to go. It's a great opportunity because it won't be in England for a long time again. And convention is where a lot of converting happens.
Definitely 3 or 4 years and probably a lot more. So we can't guarantee when it'll come back to England again.
So think of those people on your list. Literally go to your list and think of the people in your life that you would love to do this business, or even just, use the oils and get them to come to convention. Maybe even pay some of it. I know that's an investment, but it's a definitely worthwhile investment. So just start thinking like that, because afterwards, when you're sitting there, you'll be kicking yourself if you didn't invite some people as they pop into your head during convention. So don't regret that. Think of it ahead of time and plan who you want to get there and make it happen.
Yep. And there'll be the team party, which we'll give you more details about soon, and the spring tours. So I think most of the UK ones are done now, but there are spring tours. Like, for instance, there was last week the Italian spring tour, and that had 500 people at Bologna, that was amazing.
Yeah.
So if you are tuning in from a different country, check out your spring tour. Worthwhile going to. So we didn't announce the winners last week for the week before. So we've got 2 sets of winners. So we just wanted to announce for the Elites and Premiers, the most unusual sampling story was Amy McGuinness. Well done, Amy. So you win a Jasmine Touch. And then the most sampled out of the Elites and Premiers was Debbie, and she got 50, with 90% of them with specific ailments. So well done, Well done, Debbie. That's That's really well done. And you win a Neroli Touch. Mum is sending these oils out. She is in Bali, so she says if you wouldn't mind bearing with her, she will send them as soon as she comes home. And then for the silvers and golds, the most unusual sampling story was Francesca. Francesca, congratulations if you are out of the hospital after sampling everybody in the hospital. So well done. You win a Jasmine Touch. And then Fiona, out of all the silvers and golds, you had the most sampled of 44. So you win a Neroli Touch as well. So well done, guys, for all of your sampling. I know there were many, many others that did lots of sampling as well. So congratulations to you for getting out there and doing it. And then for this week's task. Wow. So there were 6 winners. So we chose 3 from the Elites and Premiers and 3 from the Silvers and Golds. So congratulations to Heather. Now Heather's in the message. Heather said that she didn't get as many as Amy and Nikki, but I counted it up and she got 25. So that confused me immensely. So if I got that wrong, let me know. But sounded to me like Heather got 25. So congratulations, Heather. Well done. Amy, you got 18. Really well done, Amy. And Nikki, you got 14. Well done, Nikki. And then silvers and golds. Congratulations to Kirsten, who got 21. Debbie, who got 16. And Tonya, I could not work out how many you did, but it looked like a lot. So
maybe she can post.
She did post.
Oh, did she?
And it looked like a lot.
Amazing.
So well done, Tonya.
Well done.
It was very detailed. That was the problem. I couldn't work out if it was like a hosted class or that person came to that class. It was very detailed, but I couldn't work it out, but it was a lot. So
excellent. That's excellent numbers.
Well done, Tonya.
Really good.
It's over to you.
Okay. Thanks, baby. Cool. So as Nathan said, we're going to be talking about how to get people to host a class and also how to make those classes successful. And actually, we're not going to be talking about that. Our lovely Louise is. But before I introduce Louise and she takes over, I just wanted to have a couple of people just share a couple of experiences that I thought were quite incredible this week. And I thought they'd have some really good tips to share with us all. So first of all, Kirsten and Fiona, are you on the call?
Yes. Hi, Bex.
Fantastic. Hey, Kirst, is Fiona there, your partner in amazingness?
Partner in excellent crimes.
Yeah, excellent crimes. Hey, Fee. So just quickly, I think you've heard from Kirsten and Fiona before. So relatively new to the business. Kirsten started September last year. Fiona, November, Fee?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, about then. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my camera sorted. Bear with me.
Oh, it's fine. Oh, yeah, your black space. So they recently did a fair, and they got amazing results. They got a lot of people booked onto classes, which I'll let them tell you, and I'll let them tell you how they did it. And then not just booked onto classes, but this is the really amazing part. They actually got people from the fair, most people, to turn up. Only a few dropouts. So I just thought it'd be really helpful if you ladies could possibly share what you did with us all.
I just want to say I think we've got amazing upline. So Becky, Nathan and Lindsay and Daniel, because we really do, just follow your lead and your guidance. And I'm not just saying that. I'm you've got to make it real for you. And I think you've been always very sincere about how you've expected, how you've given us guidance on being, believing in what you're there for, why you're doing it, what your why is, and then doing something about it and making a positive impact. And that's what we're doing. So I think both Fiona and I really felt that, this fair was a really great opportunity to speak to quite like-minded people, quite open-minded people that would, see the oils in a special way. What we did, I think, I'm going to say something now and then obviously Fiona can jump in, but we did when we talked about the fair together, we discussed how we were going to try and remember the fairs are quite hectic. There's a lot of people, and we probably, between the three of us, because Daniel was there too, we spoke to got the contacts for about 21 people each. But what was really important was for me and Fiona, when we had a little chat afterwards, was the fact that we wrote down the details of each person, and in my head I wanted to remember them, you know, like they're just a new person I've met, but I wanted to remember what they look like and the things that they said to me and Fiona.
Yeah.
So we both wrote them down in our sort of contact report. So we were like, got a son with asthma, or struggling with this, blah blah blah, you know. So when we actually responded to them after the fair, we did it really quickly as well. So we really were straight on it, like either that night or the next morning, basically, with a personal email, personal contact. And it was very much, I need to take this further with you, because we had only a very short period of time to talk, and we'd really like to kind of move it on from there. So I would say that I don't know, I think we had about 6 to 10 people each, was it, Fiona, that were booked onto the class?
Roughly about that. But I think also from the fair, I think it was really good because we sampled people there and then. They took a sample away with them, which really helped, because then they could have that experience before the class. So I think for us, it was about 6 to 10 that we had each come into the class, definitely.
So from that, we really put their mind at ease that this was a process that they could feel confident with, and that we started that sort of relationship building very much at that fair, and said, well, look, we've got so much to talk about. We're not doing it justice here. You know, we really want to make this personal for you. We'll be in contact, and we'll take this sample now. We'll find out how you feel, you know, how you're getting on with it before the class. But you know, we'll give you the information about how to get to the class and everything. But just made it very personal for them, so that they felt valued. And I think that's really important, that they really felt like they wanted to come because we were invested in them. We had a personal connection with them, even if it was brief, and that we wanted to move it forward to help them. And that is very much it wasn't a sales pitch. It wasn't sales. It was caring, considerate and thoughtful. And that is coming from the heart, you know. That's what made the difference, I think, from us. And I've done one before, and Fiona was an absolute natural. This was her first one. She was amazing, by the way. And the fair I did before, I felt really nervous, and I did feel like I was a bit on show, and I was a bit like, oh, this is a sales thing, and and it didn't feel as normal and natural and good. And if you just, for me, it just brought it back to normal, and I'm feeling very much from the heart that I do have something that I really want to share with you, because I really think it will help you. And that was the message. And they felt that. And it was the personal touch afterwards. And it wasn't harassing them. It wasn't like phoning them every day and, can't wait to see you next week. It wasn't that. It was just attention to detail, really thinking about that person, and then making sure that they had what they needed before the class, and that they knew at the class we were talking to them. We were pretty organised, I've got to be honest, me and Fiona, organisation. So, before the class, we really went through who was going to be there and what conversations we'd had. And then, basically the only 2 people that didn't turn up, I think, from your side, Fee, had a family emergency or something.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, definitely. I think as Kirsten's just said, that the personal side of it has really helped. And actually, when I phoned people on the day of the class just to say, is there anything that you want us to talk about in the class, they really were touched that I'd actually taken the time and the effort to phone them, really, to be honest. And then also I was following up on the sample that they were given. So when they came to the class, I had a bigger picture really of what then their needs were. So Kirsten and I could then try and do the class for to cover as much as possible for those people, so they felt that we were there for them. So it was good.
Yeah. And how many enrollments did you get from that class, ladies?
I think
I had 4, and didn't you have 2, Kirsten?
Yeah.
And then 2 builders, one definite builder.
Yeah.
And 1 definite host of a class, and then the other one, there was another possible builder. And then Daniel had a few as well. Really good. It was amazing. Thanks so much for sharing, ladies. And that's just really good. It's the relationship, so the personal touch that you guys did. and getting on it really quickly. I think that's really the key there. You know, I was really impressed that you got on it pretty much that night or the next day, like you said, and continued that relationship then. So people really felt that relationship, and then asking what they wanted to be covered. You know, brilliant. Just really good. So good. Thank you so much. Thanks, Fiona. Thanks, Kirsten.
Thank you.
And then is Claire on the call?
Yeah.
Claire Davies, yes. Hello, Claire.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. So also, so this is Claire. Claire joined us really recently in February, right? I've got that right. Oh, we've got a child knocking on the door. Nathan will be excused. Excellent. They always play up on team call nights. Anyway, so yeah, Claire started doing the business in February and she has stormed it, literally. So I'll let you tell us how many classes you've done, how many people you've got to host classes, just kind of what you've done, Claire, so far, and how many enrolments you had, because you started enrolling pretty much in March, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, what did you do?
Yeah. Well, I sort of live by 3 main like rituals of my life, to be honest now. And the first one's planning. I think it's so important to plan everything. So when I started the business, I had like a visualization of where I wanted to take it and how I wanted to take it there. So I sat down and researched quite a lot on business techniques within doTERRA, and got myself out there, spoke to as many people that I could straight away, whether I hadn't spoke to them in a while or not. It didn't really matter to me. If I thought that, you know, it would interest them or help them, I would speak to them. And I think it's really important to have an understanding of how it's going to help that person too. So I do a little bit of Facebook stalking, just to get an understanding of where they are in their lives. If it's like the family element, or they've got young kids, or they're athletic, or whatever it might be, to engage in a conversation that's interesting for them. So I thought that was quite important to do, because then, you know, they want to talk because it's about them, and people love talking about themselves. So I did that, and then I planned and categorised people differently. So I planned people that I wanted to talk to about the products, because they're going to help, the products are going to help these people, or people that I wanted to invite to have a class or come to one of my classes, and then planned people that I wanted to speak to about building as well. So I had it all in like a structure. And then from there I booked my classes, and I've done 6 or 7 in the last few weeks. It was a little bit crazy with the sampling as well, but well worth it, because you just jump straight in and get on with it. So I think planning is a massive aspect of it, and then planning your class as well, knowing exactly what you're going to talk about and being able to help people specifically at the classes. And then my second one was consistency. So I think being really consistent with that and following it up is really important for me, because you get the chance to have another conversation with somebody. You might sample them, but you want to have the opportunity to invite them to a class too. And also you want them to know that you're caring for them and loving them, and you want to know how that sample went. And I always find that people, the trust element comes really quickly when you care about somebody. And I found that that's helped quite a lot. And then love is another like aspect that's really important. I think you need to love the product, use it all the time, so you can talk about it all the time. And then again, the trust elements coming in to play, because people know that you actually love this, you trust this, so they trust you. And I think that's really helped me sell, of which I'm not doing at all. They're doing it for themselves. So yeah.
Amazing. And how many people did you get to host classes for you, Claire?
Well, I've had 6 or 7 hosted, and then I've had 2 of my own.
Okay, amazing. Yeah. And you literally launched in March in a massive way.
Yeah.
And then what's your total enrolments at the moment? Because I know it's going up all the time.
Yeah, it was this month, it's 11.
Amazing.
At the moment.
Okay. It's brilliant.
So yeah, and I just think learn all the time about products and people and just be open.
Fantastic. Thank you, Claire. So pretty much the basics, you just got on and did it, and you planned, and you took the next step. And then actually,
yeah, exactly. And actually just like jumping in and doing it, and don't be scared of it. Just do it. You can do it. Everybody can do it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much as well. It's really inspiring. So now I want to pass. I was just reading one of the chat. I missed this, sadly. Yes, the thing this morning was recorded, so Vanessa's talk was, and we'll be posting it later on. So I'm now going to hand the time over to Louise Wade, who I'm hoping is on the call. I'm sure she is. Hey Lou. So Louise is my lovely frontline leader. We've been on this essential journey for a couple of years together, and it's been lovely working with Lou. And she has so many pearls of wisdom, and always again makes handouts look way better than me, and is much more organised than me, and has lovely ideas. So I'm really excited to hear from Louise as well tonight. So over to you, Lou.
I'm just going to share my screen. So I'm the all-wise and all-knowing person on Becky's front line. I'm just teasing. What I love about all the training that's going on at the minute is I'm learning so much myself, and it shows it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this, there's always new things to learn. And what I'll say at the start of my presentation is that even with hosting classes, I evolve and change my ideas all the time. When I hear new ideas or I adapt to different people, and I'm sure that many of you have got some amazing ideas when it comes to hosting classes, so please share those ideas so that we can all learn from them. Okay, so can you see the heading? I can just see my head.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to start by thinking, why would someone not want to host a class? Sorry, I can't see my heading of the page. What does it say, Becky? I've just got pictures of people.
Have you? Shall I minimise the people? I wonder if that will...
Yeah, please, yeah.
Can you see?
Oh, there you go, I've got it. Okay, they're gone. Brilliant. Okay, sorry. So why should we try and get people to host classes? These are just a few thoughts that I had. So sometimes you might meet people and we keep trying to get them to come to our classes and they just can't make it for whatever reason. So I do make the effort to then go to their home if they're still super keen, so they can host a class in their home. So it's really accessible for them. Very quickly, we seem to run out of our friends and family to talk to, our warm market. So it really is an amazing way to keep finding new people to talk to about doTERRA. When we work with a host, they gain an insight into sampling and sharing the oils. And you find that as you work with them, these hosts are those people more likely to end up joining you in sharing the oils and doing the business. I'm finding that events are very quickly being booked up around the country. I don't know how you all find it, but in my area, they're getting booked up quickly. So having people to host a class, again, is vital to reach new people. And they say that if you can book 2 classes from every class you do, you will always have people to work with. You'll never run out of people to teach. And there's one presidential diamond that has never had to teach her own class. She's always had other people host and find people for her. So that's really inspiring. And also you might find the odd person who really would love to get some oils a kit, but just can't afford them. And so you can work with that person to host a class, and then the commissions from the class can go towards that person to help pay for their oils. So that's another incentive for getting people to host a class. So why wouldn't someone want to host a class in the first place? And I was thinking about this after I'd done the slide, and maybe they just can't be bothered. And that's fine. Some people just won't want to host a class. So work with those who would like to host a class. So they might feel a bit awkward at first, and that's because they're basing their experience on previous parties that they've had in their home. And I just joke with people and I say, you know, I'm really sorry, but it won't be like an Ann Summers class, and we won't have the Chippendales coming. It's more of an education class. So I make it very clear as to what the class is all about. And there's not a pushy sales at the end where a lot of people that have been to previous kind of parties have been expected to buy. And that seems to calm their anxieties. They might feel uncomfortable about having people in their home for whatever reason. And so offer your own home for them to bring their friends to, or a different venue, or someone else that lives close to them. They might feel they don't have enough people to invite. So I still have the class even if 1 or 2 people come. But again, it's about helping them to prepare for the class. So get them to write a list of potential people. You can even bring your own people to the class to help support that person. But yeah, and being worried that nobody will come. So again, it's about supporting them in the initial stages, about inviting and sampling people. Then there's more guaranteed that actually come to the class. And then maybe they'll feel overwhelmed by the expectations of the class and having to have a big table full of refreshments, and that isn't what we should be doing anyway. But if they can't provide that, then bring a few things yourself, or just have water and oils. Really keep it minimal, so you can kind of address any concerns before they say it verbally. Sometimes you can kind of guess what they're thinking, but it's easy to address their concerns. So here's some ideas of when to encourage someone to host. People will always come to you, I find. When people know that you do classes, when you teach about wonderful oils that can help with health, you will attract people. So they will ask you, please, would you mind coming to my home and do a class for me? And that's lovely when that happens. If you've got a presence of any kind on social media, for example, people will see you doing the oils, and I've had several people contact me and ask me to come and do a class for them. I just ask people, would you like to host a class for me? And often people are very obliging. But at the end of a class, when we say, some of you might be sat here thinking, oh, my mum could do with hearing about these oils, or I've got several friends at work that would love to hear about these oils. If you're sat there thinking like that, then perhaps you would like to host a class yourself. So you're dropping in the seeds at the end of the class about hosting a class. Also, we have these wonderful questionnaires that we hand out at the end of the class. That gives people the opportunity to just tick whether they would like to host a class, or if they've got friends to share the oils with. And sometimes you can just have a calendar to take with you to a class and say, look, I've got these 4 dates next month. If you'd like to host a class, please fill your name in here. So those are some ideas of how you can ask people to host. And of course, during a wellness consultation, we can invite them to host a class then. As soon as they start using the oils, they just can't help but share them with people. So that's a great opportunity then. And obviously, during events that we do, we're always asking if people would like to come to a class. If they can't make it, or would they be happy having a class in their own home? And then we'll go to them. That's another great way. And also the support we give to our customers. The first 3 months we're heavily involved with them, but even 6 months later, a year later, keep going through your whole team and keep following up with them and seeing if you'd like to host a class. You'll have newsletters going out every month maybe, or you can send emails out to your customers. You might have a Facebook group. So now and then I do put out, who would like to host a class, just to remind them that it's an option. And maybe the person that you're asking might feel awkward or doesn't want to do a class. But then I say, do you know someone who would like to host a class? Tap into their network and see if they can think of anybody else that would like to host a class. That's a great way to find people. And also, Linking with other professionals or other doTERRA members and do a joint class together, tap into that network and get them to host a class so you're doing it together. Those are just a few ideas. Now, incentives. I'm not big on incentives myself, so I think that reflects in how I behave, really. I don't offer lots of goodies necessarily. I find that when I ask people, they're more than happy to host a class for me. My husband's motto is always exceed people's expectations. So what I do is when I go to the class, I then surprise the host with a gift. And they're just absolutely thrilled. And I do this sometimes in private, but often in front of the friends or whoever's there. It's just lovely seeing the surprise on the host's face. I did a class on Saturday and the host just didn't want anything from me. She was just so grateful that I'd taken the time to go and teach her friends about the oils. So if you're struggling with extra money, for example, you don't always have to give incentives. So that's what I'm trying to say. People don't always expect them. But if you wanted some ideas, in your virtual office, if you find the hosting kit, you can buy, I think, 20 wild oranges and 10 magazines, something like that. But a wild orange, it works out at £1.80 a bottle, and a magazine. They are lovely gifts to give people who are hosting a class. Or if you're trained in the aroma touch technique, it's a lovely treatment to offer as a thank you for someone hosting a class. I think some of the best gifts are things that they can use the oils with. So things like a car diffuser, a diffuser, the Modern Essentials booklet, the Modern Essentials book, or roller bottles, because it gets them using their oils. I put match gift to the host. So what I mean by this is sometimes you'll have someone that's hosting a class and you'll think, oh my goodness, I really hope they join me in doing the business. So someone like that, I am over generous in my gift. I would give them a diffuser, for example, or something really nice, because I'm really hoping for good results in that friendship. Or you could give an oil of the host choice, you know, a lemon or something up to the value of 20 PV. I know people give keychains of oils, and I've tried this. And at first I said to the host, you can have whatever oil you want and we'll fill up all the vials in the keychain. She had more than 8 people. So we filled up every vial. She had access to all my oils. So, of course, without realising, she chose Helichrysum and Roman Chamomile and all my expensive ones. That was a really expensive gift, but it was fine. It's a learning journey. And then I heard that you could actually just give the host 5 drops of an oil in the vial and add the fractionated coconut oil in. And that's another way that you could do it to keep the cost down. I personally feel that when you give a host an oil vial that's been diluted with a carrier oil, they can only use it topically. They can't use it internally or aromatically. So it reduces the ways that they can use the oils. But yeah, if you like doing a keychain, that's fine. But yeah, you find what works for you. And again, some people look at what volume has been achieved with people buying that night, and they give a percentage of that in gifts or rewards, or even money and commissions. And that is a discussion to have with the host about whether they'd like to enroll and receive commissions, or whether you enroll the people and give the commissions, the money, to the host. Now, supporting the host. Sometimes I've had people that haven't even had access to doTERRA's oils. They just want to have a class and invite you there. And then you get people that are already members and have been using oils for a little while, or even for a year. So it all depends on where your host is. That's how you look after them and what you expect from them. So it's always good to set clear expectations of who is doing what, such as the sampling, and what the host feels comfortable doing. And make sure they've got all the right resources. So if they're happy to sample, then they need to have some sample bottles sent to them, for example, or know how to get them. So we're always encouraged, aren't we, to try and sample everyone that comes to a class and do our best for that. Posting, I do all of my posting online now. It takes so long to get to town, to the post office. And I've realised it actually costs quite a lot of money to post. So when you're posting 10 to 15 samples to people, 10 to 15 people, it adds up quite a lot. So often I just send my samples to the host to then hand out. But again, it depends on the host. But it's always good to have their contact details. Everyone that's coming to the class, that you can email them or ideally phone to start that relationship, texting. And I sometimes actually record myself doing a Zoom link so that they can actually meet me before the class and actually show them how to use their samples. More often than not, I just send peppermint and wild orange because you can have an amazing experience with either of those oils. They're cheaper oils to send out and everyone loves them. So I sit in front of the Zoom, I record myself putting the peppermint in my hand, cupping it over my mouth and nose and talking through the process. So I find that's really helpful before the class as well. And I make sure that the host knows step by step what's going to happen throughout the evening. So I talk about, if they've got children, what's happening to the children, who is entertaining them, or what are you going to do to bribe them to keep quiet? And what about the home? Of course, it doesn't have to be absolutely spotless, but when people walk into the home, what impression do they get? What feeling do they have when they walk in? Is the diffuser going to make it smell nice? I let them know what time I'll arrive. We'll talk about how we welcome guests into the home. We'll talk about the refreshments needed and as minimal as possible. I actually just have water and oils at my classes now. I talk to the host about sharing an oil experience that they're involved in part of the class as well. I talk about body language, them, how important it is to be open and quite jolly, to be authentic, but a happier version of yourself. And it's really, really important to talk about the end of the class. I think the host is probably more influential than anyone else in that room. And we all know that oils are wonderful, but the friends are looking at the host. And as the host is going around and saying, look, I bought this kit, it's actually a better value for money, I'd really recommend getting this one, the friends are more likely to listen to the host than to me saying that. So I often step back a little and let the host work their magic and walk around the room. I'll hand out some books for people to look at. But I love the discussion that goes on with the host and the friends and how they influence the sale at the end. I also talk about what happens if everyone sat there with a glass of wine, which happened a little while ago. If they're getting a bit tipsy or a bit too chatty, and how we try and just bring everyone to focus again. So it's expecting things to happen like that. What can we do if things go wrong, or whatever. And I think we have missed this golden opportunity. It's the share guide, the share booklet that is in everyone's membership booklet, their enrollment pack. So your host, if they've got oils, will have this. And it's amazing. You can sit down with them in their home if you live nearby, or you can do it online and just talk through it. It's amazing. It goes through how you set a date and time for the class. It has a list of where you can write all the names of your friends and people that you want to invite to a class. There's tick boxes for have they been sampled? Have they been personally invited to a class? Have they been reminded on the phone 2 days before the class? Have they had a text the day of the class? Did they attend a class? Were they enrolled? And then it talks about phrases, what to say when you invite people. It's got little sample cards to hand out, how to follow up with people, what you need at the class. So it's all there. So if you're really, really new and feeling quite unsure about working with a host, just literally read through the share booklet. It's a great resource tool for us. And then at the class, I like to have the host next to me so that people are looking at the two of us, and I keep referring back to them during the class. Like, how did you feel when you first started with the oils? Or what do you think of lavender? Have you used it already? What's your favourite oil? It's nice to interact with them. It's also good at the beginning of the class to thank your host for, or no, they should thank you for coming, that's right. And then I'll say, oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And as a thank you, I'd love to give you this wild orange oil or whatever you want to give. So it's a nice way to present a gift at the beginning to show people that if they host a class, then they would get a little goodie. Oh yeah, so that's just to say at the end of the class, get the host, make sure they know what to say and what kits there are, because they really are so influential in people signing up. I remember having a chat at the end of the class with someone who wanted to do the business. A lady walked in about 5 minutes towards the end of the class, hadn't even heard the class really, and yet two other people in the class that bought oils and loved them were chatting to her and encouraged her to buy a kit. So people in the class are very, very influential. And then I talked to the host about how to follow up after a class with their friends, keep in touch with them, share experiences. And it's important to discuss who is going to enroll people from the class and whether they'd like to host again. Just really quick before I finish, what I'm loving at the minute is when I have someone that wants to host a class, I actually encourage them to host 2 classes, because I'm really pushing for a feeling of community with people that join doTERRA. I feel it's so important. So I get the host to arrange 2 dates for classes. So that means that their friends have got 2 choices, but hopefully they'll come to both. So one scenario I have is I'll send some samples to the host. It'll be peppermint and wild orange. They'll hand them out to their friends, and we make sure they've had a good experience for the class. They come to the class. I teach an introduction class. The second class, we have the first hour where the people that came to the original class come back, and we recap on the introductory class again. They would have all had their wellness consultations by now, but I bring roller bottles, we make up new roller bottles with coconut oil in and oils of their choice. We recap on their confidence in using the oils. They share experiences together as friends as to how they're feeling in using the oils. And this really develops a lovely chit-chat and conversation between this friendship group. And then for the second hour, I ask them to choose a topic of what they would like. So if it's the emotions class, I do the emotions class. I'm teaching a class soon with some horse lovers. I've got no idea about horses, but they will all come to an introduction class first, and the second class will be a recap on the intro class and then a themed topic. And that just helps to really create a lovely community. The second thing I've started to do is not sample anyone before a class. It takes me a lot of time to send out samples, and I'm really trying to be cautious of my time. So it's just an experiment. I will just go and teach a class, and I won't close the class, but at the end of the class, I will let them all have 1 or 2 samples. They will pour the oil sample themselves or make up the roller bottle, and I'll teach them all how to use and benefit from the oil experience. And then a week or 2 later, I'll go back, and again, they'll all come back to that class, and they have done. And what happens is in between that period, they're all talking to each other. How did you get on with your breathe sample? And they're all chit-chatting, and they come back the second time, and you know, you get like a 90% enrollment rate because they're so excited. They're all chatting together. They've had a great oil experience. And then what I do is finish off, I close the class, but then teach them a bit more about the oils they've got and how to use them. So that's just another way that I'm trialing people that are hosting classes. I get them to choose 2 dates and then I go back the second time. So yeah, this is a lovely quote I found. So believe in the power of these products. They're amazing. Believe in the power of the heartfelt invitation. Then believe that others will want to partner with you in sharing doTERRA with their friends and loved ones. And yeah, it is such a joy to go into people's homes and share these beautiful oils. So that's just a few thoughts on hosting classes from me.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Lou. I'm just trying to work out now how to... Can you stop sharing it? There we go. Perfect. Thank you, Louise. That was really good information. Louise is brilliant at getting people to host classes. So I was really excited to hear your tips and really good tips. And, you know, it's interesting as you listen to this is why we try and get a variety of leaders to speak, because I think it's really interesting to hear how everyone does it, because we all perhaps do it a little bit differently. And the key is to find your way. So as Louise said, I love what she said about experimenting. You know, don't be afraid to experiment a little bit. I think probably more so when you get to the silver and gold stage. So for the elites and premiers, I think it is a really good idea to sample because you get so much experience through sampling as well. But once you cover those basics, then you get to kind of experiment and find your way a bit more and evolve. And, you know, and I'm always evolving too, still. So I'm going to introduce now Sarah Barber, who is also very good again, well, to host classes. You said you've got 3 this month, Sarah? Or, I mean, she's very good at very many aspects of the business. We've heard from Sarah in the last...
Hi, Becky.
Sorry, yeah, you there. We heard from Sarah in the last RAC that we did last year, because she's got so many wonderful tips and so many aspects of the business. And I've asked her many weeks to come onto the team call, but she's always teaching a class or doing something to do with doTERRA generally. So I feel very fortunate to have pinned her down and to have you with us tonight, Sarah. And so thank you so much. And you're going to just share some more tips before you.
Thank you, Rebecca. It's lovely to be here, and I'm just sorry that it's taken so many invitations, but Monday night seems to have been quite a common night for classes over the last few months, but happy to be here. Hello, everybody. So Louise did such a fantastic job there that I'm not sure that I've got too many other points, but I've got a few written down, so I'm happy to share them now. So some of the things that I do, I kind of was going to start with, you know, some of the other ways that I might kind of find to talk to people about hosting classes. So Louise already touched on, you know, actually in a class, she would think about and to highlight to people, you know, that they may be thinking of people throughout the class that the oils might help. And, you know, they might like to share a class. There's also the way that Elise Chedevy has put forward, which is to, rather than do it at the beginning, there's another way that you could also talk about it at the end and talk about, you know, the 3 types of people that come to a class. The first is the customer who just wants to kind of share the oils. And the second is the person that loves the oils but also has a strong desire to kind of share the oils and help the people around them. And then the last person would be somebody that also, you know, is really passionate about sharing and teaching and doing, you know, what they've seen the teacher of the class doing that evening. And then she sort of invites anyone that falls into, you know, number 2 or number 3 to come and either talk to her at the end or stay behind when she does a short introduction of not only the business, but you could also talk about, you know, sharing, because essentially hosting is sharing. That's what we're looking for when we're looking for sharers. So that's another way. And then an even softer way would be to, when you're actually showing people or talking about the feedback form during a class, that's a really soft way, because you even don't have to kind of go, overtly talk about hosting. You can just sort of, actually you're describing to people, which boxes are on the form. And, you're saying, there is a box on the form for people that would like to host a class. And, and then you're really just telling people what's on the form, but at the same time, you're inviting them to consider the idea of hosting a class. I haven't done this myself, but I have also heard of, what Louise was saying about having a calendar and offering dates out. You could also offer a small incentive there and then, so that if somebody did actually book to host a class at a class, you could actually offer them something small as a gift to take away there and then, just to kind of incentivize them to, sign up to host a class there and then. I mention it in my follow-up email. So for people that have already decided to get oils after a class, or if they haven't decided to get oils, I'm still sending them a follow-up email. I actually have taken what Emily Mascarenhas did, and she always has kind of like a PS at the end of those 2 emails. And the first PS talks about, would you like to host a class? And the second PS invites people to learn more about the business if they'd like to. So I do that as well. So I think it's really just about giving people as many different opportunities and mentioning it, as often as possible or in different ways. Francesca in my team, within Arabella Harding's team, I did a fair with her last summer. And what I really, really loved is, rather than sometimes, I find that we wait to offer a hosted class almost as a natural progression at the end of a normal class. But with Francesca, she was talking to people at, it was a festival actually, and everybody she was talking to, that was kind of her first point of contact with people, is that, she would talk to people about the possibility of hosting a class. And it's something that I hadn't ever done, and I was really learning from her, and it seemed to work really well and people really liked it. And depending on who she was talking to, she would tailor it, so if she sort of had chatted to people and built up a relationship, and if she could tell that they were really going to go for Prosecco with, lime or grapefruit oil in, she would go for that angle. And if it was somebody that was a bit more, into yoga and, raw chocolate, she might go for that angle. And I really like that as well. And also the other thing, a lot of these are sort of tips from things that I've learned from people in my team. So Kyla Williams, she would go back through all the feedback forms, and obviously, we have all the people that tick, yes, I'd like to host a class. And actually going back over those and contacting people directly and saying, hey, you ticked that you would like to host a class, let's get one booked in. It's kind of reminding people that, we're not now asking them if they would host a class, because they've actually already told us they would like to. And all we're doing is kind of holding them accountable for the fact that they would like to hold a class. So often people are going, oh yeah, I have, haven't I? Yeah, let's get that booked in. So that's another one that I quite like. And often there's quite a few people to contact all at once. So that's quite a good way of getting, a few classes. If you haven't done that for a while and you've got a big pile of feedback forms, then why not go through them and contact people. Another thing that I do is, sometimes people say that they would like to host a class, but just not yet, or in a few months, or, they say yes, but not immediately. So again, it's good to hold those group of people that you can contact. And Louise did talk about this, but for the people that maybe, sometimes people are interested in hosting, but can't quite see that they kind of almost need you to, a bit like the oils, when people are interested in having a sample but they don't really know what sample they want, and we have to kind of help them work out or explain and give them more information around what oils and what ailments they can help with. Sometimes for people, I kind of, I give them I start to say what types of gifts like they might offer, or I might offer, or if it's somebody that I think might want to do more than one class, I might talk about giving them some or all of the commission. So sometimes just kind of giving them a few ideas. They just need that little bit more information before they actually commit to a class. And then what else did I have? I've got a couple more points here just before I finish. So if somebody hasn't enrolled, if they're very close to enrolling and they're really communicating to you that they want to enroll, but they just haven't got the money right now, or people that are kind of considering doing the business, but very kind of, not that committed, not that sure. Sometimes I will suggest to both of these two types of people that a nice way for the people that can't afford the kits, it's obviously a way that they can earn some money towards paying for their own kit, but also people that are very softly exploring maybe doing the business. It's just another way they can have a bit of a deeper experience with the oils, that they'll be attending another class, and because it's their class in their home with their friends, they'll have quite a deep experience of that class. And then lastly, something that's worked for me really well this month is I did an offer. So I did a Facebook post. I think I put it in my newsletter as well. I decided to offer anybody, I posted at the beginning of March, so anybody that hosted a class either in March or April would receive their choice of diffuser necklaces. And I put 4 or 5 different pictures of really lovely diffuser necklaces that, they weren't costing me tons of money. But again, to Louise's point, there's something that people can't get from doTERRA. B, they're beautiful and shiny, and many women just, they seem to be attracted to it. And also it's a way that they can use their oils. So again, I had people that had kind of either said no to a class or were thinking about it, but as soon as they saw the offer of some beautiful diffuser jewellery and the pictures that look really, really great, that created quite a lot of interest. And I mean, the gifts could completely vary. That's just one example, but I found that worked really well. Okay.
Thank you, Sarah. Sorry, I just lost the PowerPoint and I had to get Nathan to come down, ready to just show people the prize for this next week. He just appeared. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. They're brilliant tips. I love the diffuser necklace. Things like that are really good because people really want them, don't they? I find that with the diffuser necklaces. And they don't know where to get them from. And it's a lovely gift that's different and another way of using the oils with it. But yeah, all really good tips. I love, Arabella did at the fair as well. Nathan and I have done that, and that does work really well. If you decide to have a number of people you want to get, book classes from when you go to a fair and have something there. I mean, we offered an intro kit they could take away with them, actually, and that worked really well. It's definitely built on trust, isn't it? They could just go and not do it, but generally I find that people are really really committed when they get something like that to take away with them. So that's something we found worked. So yeah, so brilliant tips. Thank you so much, Sarah. You're worth the wait. Okay, I'm just going to quickly share the screen, which is why I had to find it again, because I just want to quickly and here we go. So it is week 3 of the RAC, and people are making amazing progress. It's really lovely to see all the comments. I do go through and have a look at them all. I don't always have time to comment on them. In fact, I don't have tons of time to comment on them, but it's really lovely to see, all your efforts, and you're also getting results as well, which is fantastic. So I'm really excited for you all. And, like we said, this is the purpose of the RAC, is to help to kind of motivate you to go to the next level, but again, you can take it at your pace as well. So last week's challenge was to invite people to classes, and that was great. But this week's challenge, you've got classes, both groups have got classes this week to do. So the challenge is to get these people to turn up to classes. And this can sometimes be the really disheartening stage, can't it? Because you put all that work in, and then, we often do get people dropping out, and that is very normal. I think we're always going to get that. But to try and limit that is to do what Kirsten and Fiona demonstrated so wonderfully, and they spoke about it at the beginning of the call, is to do this kind of 3-step follow-up with people. So it doesn't have to be an email confirmation. It can just be a confirmation, if you're going to see these people in your everyday life, just kind of confirming that they are, booked onto the class. So that's the step 1, or it can be an email. Step 2 is to definitely phone them. I really recommend phoning them a couple of days before the class, and that's when you can do as Fiona mentioned about asking them what they want to be covered in the class. You want to make this class specific to the guests who are coming, so that makes them really feel like they want to attend. And then a text on the day of the class, and that can be just very simply, really looking forward to seeing you later, I've just been making some chocolates with essential oils in, or whatever it is, just a friendly text, because people will forget. So this week's challenge then, and the prize will be a frankincense touch. So it's the top 3 people in the joint groups. Nathan told me we're being a bit too generous, so he's made me do top 3 out of both groups this week. So doing the top 3 out of both groups will win a frankincense touch, and it's the highest number of people that you do those 3 steps with. Okay, so you've got to confirm with them, you've got to call them, and you've got to text. So that's the thing we want to really congratulate, because if people don't come to a class, then at least you've done all you can. So we really want to congratulate that, because that's the work that goes into it beforehand. Now, just to give you a heads up, the week after, the challenge is going to be for the people that get the most people to book a hosted class. So as you're doing classes this week, we just wanted to let you know. So if you can get people this week to book a hosted class with you, then that will count towards next week as well. So when you're doing your classes this week, take all the tips on board that Sarah and Louise have shared with you, and try and get some hosted classes from those classes as well. But it's definitely the 3-step program. So we'll be doing a question and answer session in the evening this week. I know lots of you can't make the morning, so you'll be pleased to know it's in the evening. And so the elites and premiers will be at 8 p.m. and the silver and golds at 8:45. So the general theme will be about getting people to host classes, and Emily's kindly offered to run that for us and Nathan will be there as well on Wednesday, but it's not Nathan's forte, getting people, from hosted classes, although he is very good at calling people, so he can definitely share things about that, how to get people to host classes. So Emily and Nathan will be sharing tips. But those question and answer sessions are great because they're quite intimate, and you can ask any questions as well. It doesn't have to just be on getting people to host classes. So that will be this Wednesday. And that is the end. So this week, let me just stop that. So for the for the elites and premiers, your schedule this week, if you're following the RAC program, is to do 2 classes, I believe, and book 15 people onto a finding class if you're going to do a finding class next week. So it's really about focusing on those 2 classes this week, trying to get 7 enrollments we set the challenge for between those 2 classes, and then also looking forward to next week where you might be doing a finding class, so looking for people for that, and talking to your upline. It's very important. And then for silver and golds, similar actually as well, you're going to be doing 2 classes this week as well in the RAC program, and getting 20 people found to be able to come to a finding class next week, and talking to each of your builders and supporting them. So that is the work for this week. So a big thank you again, huge thank you to all of our participants tonight. Really lovely to hear from a variety of people. I'm sure you all agree, it's lovely. And as I say, I'm always learning, so I love to pick up tips from you all. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Good luck with your classes, and enjoy them. That's the most important thing. Have fun, enjoy them, and just do your best and share these wonderful oils. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Bex. Bye.
Kirsten.
Bye.
Thanks for sharing. Goodbye. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, Claire. Thanks, Fiona. Thanks so much, Louise. That was amazing. Massive thank you. for taking a chunk of that training tonight.
Bye, Becky.
Goodbye, Jade. Good night.
Becky.
Bye, Tonya. I see you waving.
Bye.
Bye.
Just a quick one.
Yes, hi Jade.
I've managed to get people to host.
Amazing.
All my hosted classes so far are booked in for May because that's when they can do them.
Okay. Brilliant. That's brilliant.
I've actually got 4 hosted classes in May.
Wow. Well, that's fabulous. That's amazing, Jade. Yeah.
I don't seem to be able to get anything any quicker.
For April, because the April, I mean, so have you got any classes booked in this month? Have you managed to get some classes booked in just from people you're sampling, your own classes?
21st of April is the only one I've managed to get booked in, but I am doing a psychic fair as well this month.
Okay, great. Because also what I would suggest you do then, Jade, is you set yourself a goal to get 2 more dates in April, and you could even try and get a class date towards the end of next week. That gives you time to sample people around you and book them onto your own class. So you have at least one class in March. And the thing you might want to say about that, Jade, you could even still call some people for March, because you've still got time, because March is such a good deal month with the Immortelle. So I find that's a really good pull when you're asking people to host a class, because they obviously want their friends to benefit from good deals as well. So in good months like this, like December with the frankincense, you can say that to people. You say, no, look, March is a really good month to host if you possibly can. Just need to invite 10 people, and then your friends could benefit from a free Immortelle blend worth £96.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Jade. Good luck.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Hello, Toby.
Do you wanna? You on mute? You on? Should I mute you, Jade, before you start? There we go. Oh. We have plenty of time to ask questions on Wednesday night as well. Anyone have any urgent questions now they want to say? Ali? Hello. That's a lovely background noises. I've muted you. Sorry, Ali. I didn't think you had a question. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off. Have a wonderful, wonderful week and enjoy your classes. And see you soon. And I've still been recording.